And now, let's take a look at what's new at BoardGameBliss.com with Nick Meanahan.
Hey now people, it's Nick Meanahan here, and it is time for another episode of What's New at BoardGameBliss.com. Board Game Bliss being our incredible sponsor, and I love this store even before I started, even before we started our partnership, and now that I am working together with them, it's amazing. I really have enjoyed it so far, and you should go and check out their website. Well, not right now. Watch the rest of this video first, please. But that'll give you some idea of what you should be checking out over on their website. They have a great selection, a lot of really hard-to-find games that aren't necessarily commonly available here in the States. And even though they're a Canadian-based company, you'll see that right in the title of the webpage, their shipping rate to the United States is just amazing. I'm shocked. There's a lot of companies here in the U.S. that don't have as good a shipping rate as what Board Game Bliss offers. So please do check them out and patronize them. I would really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So what is the What's New episode? This is where I show you some of the newest stuff and just the most interesting stuff that is coming out either very, very soon at Board Game Bliss or that might already be out. And you should go there and check it out and see if it's something you might want to purchase. Now, just as a disclaimer, a lot of these games I have not played, so I can't give you my official endorsement as a reviewer. I'll just point out some things that I think are interesting and that might have caught my eye, and just try to be, I'll always be honest about it with you. And actually, there are 3 games that I'll be talking about today, just by coincidence, that I happen to have played, and, well, I reviewed 2 of them, and 1 of them, but I like them all, so I will mention that as well. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Alright, first off we have Green Deal from Karma Games. It has a very interesting theme. It takes place in the future. You work for a corporation that is trying to be very profitable, but also be green, because especially in the year 2050, resources are scarce and you have to try to be profitable but not have the ire of people against you for fear of turning it into a dystopian world. So you have to actually be socially conscious with how you run your company, and there's a lot of auctions and bidding for special powers and things. And what's most notable to me about this game is that Tom Vassell brought it down to a Cool Stuff meetup down here in South Florida, and like nobody wanted to touch the game because it just didn't look very appealing. But then they actually played it. Tom talked some people into playing it, and everyone walked away really, really enjoying it. So I haven't played it personally, but if that's a recommendation that you can go by, then there you go. The winner of Best Name for this week's episode of What's New is, hold on, Zigzag I. Obviously a children's game about hens who are carrying eggs to a dunghill. I was very confused by the description of this, but then I saw the pictures of the game, and it looks great. I mean, it's really great components. Kids would probably love it. I still don't know that the story makes any sense, but I do know that Zoc, the company that produces it, is well known for children's games. Apparently they win the Spiel des Jahres, or the Kinderspiel des Jahres, quite a bit, so there you go. The first of the games that I have actually played, but I have not gotten around to reviewing yet, is CV from, what is the company? Grana. Now, this is a game that I had wanted for quite a while. This was on my top 10 anticipated games of Gen Con 2013. So that's when this game premiered, and it hasn't gotten a lot of buzz at all. It hasn't gotten any kind of wide release, which is a shame. I haven't done a review yet, but I'll tell you that I like the game. It is incredibly random, and it does hold the game back in some ways, but I love the theme. It's all about building a life from childhood up through old age. You're doing this mechanically through set collection, so you're trying to get different types of cards and have like a lot of romance cards or money cards, get a job. I mean, there's all these different types of cards, and it comes down to getting points at the end of the game based on the cards that you've managed to take and how many of them you've managed to take. But you do have this cool theme on top of that, and the main mechanic of the game is actually King of Tokyo Yahtzee style dice rolling, which is why I say that the randomness comes in. So it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's fascinating. The artwork is just stunning. I really, really love the artwork in this game. Everyone I played with loved at least that part of it. So I'd like to see this game get more love, and I'd love to try the expansion for it too. In fact, I might want to try the expansion before I actually review this, but even so, I think it's a solid game, and a lot of people will probably enjoy it because it's also a family weight gateway style game. That's CV from Grana. Another game that I have actually reviewed is Fedeli Toss from Green Couch Games. I think this is might be the first game from Green Couch Games, and designer Jason Kotarski, who did, I believe he did the great Hartley and Halling Company for Dice Hate Me Games, which is also a really good game. And yeah, I mean, Fedeli Toss, I don't know why couldn't just hold that. But Fedeli Toss is a really decent set collection card game. I guess set collection is the word of the day for this, what's new. But it's very interesting. It's got this neat mechanic of trying to put people into different guilds, but then you're also trying to meet secret goals. You're trying to manipulate them around the city. It's got fantastic artwork. I really, really love the artwork in the game. It's very light. It's very interesting, and there is some strategy to it, but there's also just enough randomness, and it's also very quick as well. So if you're into that type of game, you might want to check it out. Let's talk about an expansion to a game that I barely ever played and can't even really remember playing that well. That is Ruins for 51st State or the New Era. I think this expansion will work for either of both of those, because those two base games were actually, you could sort of mix them together to some degree or another. So if you've never played the 51st State or the New Era, they were the precursors for Imperial Settlers, which is one of my top 10 games of all time as of this point. A fantastic game. I love Imperial Settlers. From what I understand, Imperial Settlers is a bit of an easier, more accessible version of those games. Now, I keep tiptoeing around this, but I did play, I think I played the New Era very, very early on in my game group, and very, very early on when I was getting into modern board games, and it was a heavy game for me. I was not prepared for that game at that time, so I didn't have a good reaction to it. And now that Imperial Settlers out, I'll probably never go back to those original versions of the game, but there are people that swear by the 51st State and the New Era. They say they are far, far superior to Imperial Settlers, especially as far as theme. The theme is like post-apocalyptic, like dystopian mutants in Russia and Poland, and really interesting art style as well. People were into that. The game Convoy, I think, took place in the same universe. And it is also from Ignacy Trzewiczek. And a lot of people will buy anything from Ignacy Trzewiczek, which I totally understand. The guy is awesome. So you may want to check out the original games that this is based on, or if you already have checked those games out and you like them, maybe you even purchased them, and you maybe not even known there's an expansion for it, now you know. Camino is another kids game from Zoc that also features chickens. I guess they're sort of iconic to Zoc in their brands, but this one is sort of a dice rolling game and trying to add and subtract numbers and things. It's designed by Reiner Knizia, so everything I just said before that makes total sense now. But again, like the other game from Zoc, it looks like it's got great components, probably really, really appealing to kids, and if you've got kids, I think that the sort of children's and family board games that come out of Europe and Germany in particular are like some of the best regarded games for kids around. They just don't get a lot of love and attention, obviously, in the US because of Monopoly and Candyland. So maybe this will be the game that introduces you to that style of games for your kids. How about another expansion, and this time I definitely haven't played the game that it is for. This is the Carson City Gold and Guns expansion. And I haven't played Carson City, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's kind of before my time as a board gamer, and a lot of games are before my time as a board gamer, but this one isn't getting talked about much anymore. I know that Secret Cabal loved it. I know that Tom enjoyed it quite a bit, I think. I don't know if he still has it in his collection, but it is a very, very well-regarded game, a thematic worker placement game that takes place in the Old West, and now you have an expansion for it as well that just adds more new stuff to the game, some promos that were previously unavailable. So if you're someone that already likes Carson City, you might want to take a look at this. If you've never heard of Carson City before, you should check that out as well. Next up is a Cosmos two-player game. Most of the Cosmos games are two-player. They call them the Cosmos two-player line. This one is called, I'm not going to say this right, Jager und Spaher, which I believe means hunters and spies, or hunters and scouts. In this case, hunters and scouts are taking place in the Stone Age. You are trying to send out people from your tribe to either hunt or spy on the other hunter-gatherers. I don't know too much more than that, but I do know that the Cosmos two-player line is very, very well regarded. I don't know if this is thematically similar to the actual Stone Age board game. I kind of doubt it, but even so, if you enjoyed that theme and if you like these two-player games that Cosmos has been putting out, you might want to look at this one too. Aliyah is bringing you Las Vegas Boulevard. That is to say, it is the Boulevard expansion for the game Las Vegas. And I actually forgot until just now looking at it that I have played Las Vegas. So there's another game on this list I have actually played. And I only played it once, maybe twice. It's not, I never owned the game. I found it to be very enjoyable. It's a dice chucking game, at least the base game. I don't know anything about the expansion really. But it's a dice checking game about trying to get different sets of dice on different tiles that are represent different casinos and have different money amounts next to them, and you're trying to get a certain combination of dice. Something like that. It's been a while, but it was fun. It was a very light family game, and I know that the guy that I played it with always brought it out when we were just looking for something to kill time until more people showed up. So for that, it's a very good thing as well. And I know there's been a couple of expansions for it. Now you have the Boulevard one as well. So if you want to make your game of Las Vegas a little more exciting, you might want to look at this one. Am I saying look at this one or check this one out too much? Huh. Check Board Games, those rascals, are bringing you Mick Johnnys, which is a party game for, I think, 3 to 6 players that is all about running a fast food restaurant. This actually sounds like Space Cadets in a fast food restaurant, where people have different assignments and there's different shift changes and people take on different roles like the manager, and it's really a fascinating concept. I mean, I think science fiction like Space Cadets is overdone, but the idea of working in a fast food restaurant appeals to me, as you can tell. But I have to tell you, the box is horrifying. It's one of the most horrifying covers I've ever seen. Maybe I'm just looking at it wrong. I mean, I understand what's going on there, but it's just freaky deaky. And that's why I'm probably going to have nightmares after I finish this video, but it doesn't mean the game isn't amazing. I don't know. Find out for yourself. Now let's end on a high note with a game that I can certifiably, well, I don't really give certification, but if I could, I would certify that this game is amazing, and that is New Dawn from Artipia Games. You can watch my review of this. I'm sure you know how to use the Googles or the YouTube Googles. It's a fantastic game. It is set in the Among the Stars universe, Among the Stars also being an amazing game about card drafting that blows 7 wonders out of the water. You're building a space station, and this one is all about taking your empire and building new colonies on these burnt out husks of worlds left over from this great war that happened. And it's just great area control. You're putting out mobile headquarters and moving around the different cards that you place out strategically, trying to do area control, warring with other players to take control of these cards, getting the help of ambassadors. There's great bits, always fantastic artwork in this universe. This game will be out from Stronghold Games in North America later this year, but why wait that long? This game is amazing. You can get it right now, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. That is a New Dawn, I almost said Among the Stars, New Dawn from Artipia Games. Well, that is it for What's New from Board Game Bliss for this time. I'm sure I'll do another one of these in a couple of weeks or so, but do support our sponsor. They're fantastic. Trust me, I would not be pumping them up as highly as I have been if I didn't love them. They're a fantastic store, and I would encourage people to show some love for them because they've shown some love for us. I would really appreciate it. That's BoardGameBliss.com. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.